Hello, folks. Welcome back to the Simp Podcast. We're here again with Jacob and Paxton.
G'day, folks. Good to be here.
No, it's going to be that day.
It's one of these episodes. So,
I'm feeling dangerous.
well, speaking of feeling dangerous, we're going to be doing some controversial discussions today about valuing different fruits of the spirit.
Could be controversial. Could be.
Could be, potentially. There will probably be a lot of debate and argument, but essentially what we're doing today is we're taking 9 of the fruit of the spirit, and one of them is duplicated because there's a different translation, and we're going to try and find out which ones we care about most in a friendship, and by ordering them from most important to least important. And so this is...
And sort of potential spouse, right? That was also lumped in there.
Well, I was thinking we just keep it to just friends because that we'll
makes
keep
it easier,
keep the conversation focused. So
nice, that makes it easier.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good to me.
Indeed. So that should be everything. So we're gonna quickly define each of the fruit, like just to make sure we're on the same page, and then we're gonna start ranking. That's the plan.
Do we want to do that while we get into them?
Yeah, let's just define it.
I feel like we do it as we go.
Yeah.
So we talk about a fruit because we're probably gonna disagree maybe a little bit on the definitions of them, and that'll be part of the discussion of those fruits. So I say we just jump right into it.
Sounds good to me.
Agreed.
Let's go.
Let's get to the meat of this.
All right, so I will share.
Yeah. I really fumbled on that one. I said meat.
Wow.
Well, I should just retire. That's it for me.
That's okay, Pax. You know, you had a good run.
I had a good run.
All right, here we go.
Here we go, gentlemen.
We're in.
This looks familiar. We definitely haven't used this format before.
Yeah.
Teammaker supremacy.
Oh no! Hold on, I got to change something because.
Oh, we gotta do names.
Yeah,
right.
we gotta put our names up here.
Put
we're not actually doing it.
Put Paxtorius for me. Yes, that is my Instagram tag. Oh, it looks so bad now, but it looks like it's S tier. It looks like it's S tier still though, so it's perfect. The most important tier. It's also
Jake,
red, so warning.
Could you maximize the window? Because it looks like kind of small.
Does it look weird? Okay, yeah, I don't... Well, if I maximize the window, I only have one of my monitors working, so I'm not going to be able to see your guys' screen. So if you guys are showing me anything or like that, so all I'm looking at is the screen now.
Oh, okay.
So just letting you know. Yeah, I just moved
Delete
into a
ones.
new place, so I'm going to.
Okay. Sorry.
Slow down there.
My
young people these days.
My ADHD's kicking in.
Right, Jacob? Yeah. Right?
Dude, I feel out of place though because both of you have 2 new setups and I don't.
All right, what color do you guys want? I'll let you guys choose your own color. Josh?
Green, favorite color.
Keep mine red as like a warning. Don't be cautious with this one.
Paxtorio S.
Paxtorio S.
Blue doesn't look great right now.
No, do like no. Try white. White's always superior.
Gray.
What did you say, Max?
Gray's
Everything's
sad.
a little gray.
Yellow's good. Yellow means listen.
Fine. Okay, yellow's fine.
Green, listen. Green means go. Get out of there.
Oh yeah, we're red. Red, green, and yellow. That's how our lights work around here.
Yep.
I gotta go on the bottom.
You gotta put Jacob. Yeah.
No. This is fine. Do you want to go at the bottom?
No. It's fine.
We'll leave it the way it is. All right, so let's get into the fruits of the spirit. The first one up we have is love. Now, Josh,
most important.
How would you define love?
Right, so originally I was thinking, let's define literally everything else and then define love because like love can be defined a lot with the other ones. But
you want to put love at the bottom?
We could do love last, yeah.
Pax?
But it's hard to define.
I concur.
All right.
It's not bad.
All right, joy. How would you define joy? I think a lot of these can help define joy, so I think we put joy at the bottom too.
Yeah, we'll start with self-control. Just go through every single one. We're in a loop.
All right, we gotta stay on track.
Okay, joy's the first one.
Here's something we have for joy. So people will think like joy is just being happy. So I have like joy is choosing to respond to external circumstances with inner contentment and satisfaction, because we know that like ultimately God will use whatever trials or tribulations for our benefit in the end, and so we're just we just react to negative circumstances positively because of confidence and knowledge.
Well, joy is also different from happiness, because like happiness fluctuates with your emotions, right? Mm-hmm. Joy is kind of like always present.
Yes, exactly.
Something that happens to you shouldn't take away your joy, and so it's a
lasting thing because it's based on like knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. It's more ingrained in you than happiness. And Webster's, we're going to do Webster's definition real quick.
Sure.
Webster's defined it as the emotion evoked by the well-being, success, or good fortune, or by the prospect of possessing what one desires.
That's really temporary.
Yeah, because well-being, success, and good fortune all can pass.
But that's just kind of like the word itself, the English word. I mean, we are talking about like more of a biblically accurate understanding of the word joy, which is how I normally think of it, because I do like, as otherwise I would just talk about happiness. So I do have a preference for viewing joy in more of a biblical way, because then it makes it different, it makes it stand out. So I kind of like the first definition Josh gave. There's a lot that goes into joy in trusting God, essentially, and trusting, because think about it, like I've thought about many people who are in the midst of great suffering. They're not happy, right? That's not like a happy occasion where their mood is just like, I mean, I don't even know if gleeful. I want to say mood. Yeah. There's no sort of like gleefulness or no sort of like gladness. Oh, I'm so glad this all is going on in my life right now.
But they are content. I think Josh really hit that.
But there is contentment, and then there is just trust that like I know this will work out for good. Because
kind of like
I love God.
And okay with not being okay.
Yeah, and it's more all encompassing. It's more of like a
lifestyle.
I don't know. Lifestyle.
I don't like that.
Yeah, that isn't the best word.
Okay, so we're talking about how we admire this in other people. I really admire this. I think when Jake was talking about people who act, or not really act, but like when they're going through trials and they have the ability to be okay with not being okay, I really admire that.
Yeah, maybe that's a good way of looking at joy. It's okay to not be okay. It's a little bit of that mentality. It's not exactly that, but people who have joy have that.
Yeah, and that's something I really actually heavily just admire in other people, because that takes courage. That takes a lot of courage to be able to do that. It takes a lot of trust, obviously trust in God, and that's something that I admire a lot.
Yeah, it like points to your faith, and it's a beautiful thing when someone's like.
It is a beautiful thing. I like that. Yeah.
So it seems like we all agree on joy. That was.
I mean, there's nothing to discuss, because it's going to be one no matter what, like.
Yeah, right. We're just putting it here.
Yeah.
And it'll go. So once we talk about peace,
I just meant the definition, just definitionally. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sure. I do think thankfulness goes a lot along the lines of joy, and I don't know if you guys said that already, but
no, we didn't. That's
I think that's something that's really tied to it.
Yeah, you're thankful even in the midst of trials, and you find things that you're able to be thankful for, and. That I really admire that as well.
All right.
Next.
Yeah. So the next is peace.
All right. We'll start with Webster's. We'll see how we like it.
Sure.
It is a state of tranquility or quiet state of security. Order within a community provided for by law or custom keeping.
Okay. Is it very official, legal, diplomatic?
Yeah. A state of tranquility or quiet. A state of security. I like the state of security. I can that makes sense to me. Because you're not anxious, right? It's kind of the opposite of being anxious and worrying about things.
Yes. True.
And from a biblical standpoint, that's kind of like just putting your trust in God and realizing He's working everything out for your good and that sort of deal.
I've got something.
Right, there is also. Okay, go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, just I did some investigation with different like websites that were trying to define each of these, and so there's like absence of war or chaos, like Paxton said, a right relationship with God, and a good relationship among people, a sense of tranquility or serenity, and peace is like it could be defined as a human attribute more than just a personality free from internal and external strife. It's like sometimes it's not just like a passive state. It's like a person who's peaceful is willing to intentionally make peace. Like
you know what that takes? That takes a ton of humbleness. I think those go pretty hand in hand because you're setting aside your pride to be able to.
Oh, true. Yeah.
You know, make those steps to be at peace with all men, and that takes self-sacrifice. And I think humbleness kind of goes hand in that. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but so just peace is like not only not having the inclination to create problems, but also seeking to resolve problems as well.
Yeah,
a peacemaker.
Right. Exactly. Right. So there is an action component to it.
Yes, it's passive and active.
I mean, my name does mean Peace Town, so I should admire this one quite a bit.
Yeah.
But this is in the context of how we admire this in other people, not really ourselves, right?
Right.
Other
value
people.
in other people.
I do. Yeah. I do. No, I think I like the definitions that were given because there is a part of it that is more of like the state you're in. I'm in a state of peace, but there is the sense in which, okay, what is the opposite of this? You know, conflict. It's antithetical to conflict. So there's that goes into it, motivating you, stopping conflict, like what Josh is saying. So I think that does a good job of covering the basis.
I would say
we admire it in people. Well, we're going to admire all of these.
Yeah. Let's set that straight. Like, just because one is maybe higher than the other doesn't mean it's more important than the other, right? Like that's not what we're determining the importance of these. It's what we value.
Like a personal preference, yeah.
Yeah, also, personal preference.
There is, I don't know if we're going to go into context all the time, but the context of this whole passage in the Bible in Galatians, I believe was people arguing over circumcision. And
really?
So Paul in his letter is basically trying to say, okay, stop worrying about that. Don't be this, be this. Like, here are the fruits of the Spirit. You know, this is what you're looking for in people. It's not about circumcised or uncircumcised. I believe that's true, but I would have to double check. Let me double check.
Okay, sounds good. For me personally, I mean, obviously this is a really important fruit. I think in our society, peaceful people come a lot more naturally than joyful people. So when I see someone who is able, like we were talking to earlier, be able to be joyful in the midst of difficult times, I admire that more than I do someone who is peaceful, just because, I don't know, it's more bold and it takes more courage to be joyful than peaceful, at least to people I've known and from what I've seen. So I'm leaning towards saying I admire joy more than peace. And that would be my reasoning. Yeah,
I think that's pretty good. I was leaning towards peace originally, but now that I think about it, I think I've probably...
it takes a lot of courage to be joyful in the midst. And I don't know, like, maybe it's just our society, but you know, there is a heavy emphasis on being at peace with all men. Like, maybe that's more ingrained in how America runs. I don't know if that's stupid or not.
That's a word that's used to kind of virtue signal a little bit, I think. It's not actually something that's really practiced. They kind of pollute it in a way, because they're saying at peace with all men means that you never stand up to anybody and tell them they're wrong because you're not being at peace. But that's not what I believe peace is. Right? So there is something called a standard of what is good and what is moral, right? We'll get into some of these things. Understanding what is, the most loving thing to do for somebody is not always something that is going to necessarily create peace initially. It could create conflict.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right, actually.
I mean, we could talk about lots of examples along those lines. So to me, I actually might put peace higher because I feel like it's so easy to be in conflict. So I guess when you say peace with all men, you're thinking like large scale, societal, cultural, that's what they want to press. But when I think peace with all men, I think of the person you meet at the grocery store and cuts you off and gets in front of the line before you, even though that'd be a weird thing to do. Like, I'm thinking of those occasions because those are the things that we kind of accept as like, oh, it's okay that I was angry. Like, he did a dumb thing.
I was in the right, yeah.
I was in the right. I'm going to be mad at this person now. And, like, I think of more in those daily circumstances. If we're focusing so much complaining about other people, looking at their faults, that causes conflict, and that pushes us away from actually having any sort of impact or good relationship, or even just a good I guess influence on people. So I don't know. I see it. This is a tough one for me. I think I would put peace slightly above joy in what I look for in other people.
Wait, question, Jake. So you're saying primarily it's because you value a friend that would want to be peaceful and make peace with you more than a friend who's happy
not peace with me, but peace towards other people. Yeah, more than just be correct. More than just be at peace inside.
Because maybe you value like joy personally more, but just in other people you value peace more, just because of the fact that we're talking about a relationship, right? What do you think of that?
So now you're asking, what do I value, or what do I put as a higher value in myself?
Yeah.
No, I definitely strive more to be a peacemaker.
Okay. That's consistent.
Now I say that joy has been a bigger part of my thoughts in my life lately, of just not only being joyful, but of thinking about and being thankful for the things that I have, and like really just, I don't know, even one of the Psalms I was reading recently emphasizes that, and I talked about that a little bit last Sunday. But yeah, no, I've had a greater appreciation for joy lately, but I still think
if we're talking personally, I think one of the reasons I value joy so much in people is it's something I've really struggled with, to find inner joy when things aren't always going the way I planned things to go, and I really struggle with feeling okay with not being okay. And so when I see other people do that excellently, I'm like, wow, I'm very impressed with that, and I very much admire to be more like that. So, and I've always been somewhat of a people pleaser, so trying to make peace with people and trying to, avoid conflict has always been a part of me. So it comes more naturally to me. So I think I admire joy more because it's something I struggle with. So I gravitate towards those people as something I'd want to be more like.
Yeah.
So that would be my reasoning. But I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I like what you had to say.
I think for me, I'm going to have to put peace after. I'm going to say after joy for now. I think like Paxton said, it's really, really like an admirable thing to have a lot of joy, and I find that like a beautiful thing. But it's like in the context of a relationship, No. Okay, hold up. I'm going to decide on this.
Oh boy.
Peace is going to go in front. Peace is going in front.
180.
Peace is going in front.
Flip-flopper.
Because
it's going to be a long episode.
Peace functions much more like effectively in a relationship, I think. Like you could be joyful in yourself, and that's a great thing, but like if you're having a relationship, I think peace is like a valuable thing to have in a friend.
That's funny, because me and Jacob also had this conversation where I get along most with people who disagree with me more about things. So like maybe I don't value peace enough because I like people who disagree with me.
Yeah.
So I want to be able to talk and have friendly conflict with people. So maybe I don't value that enough. But I'm sticking with mine.
All right. Now this next one, we're going to do patience and long suffering together, because different translations used different words here. So this is the same, patience and long suffering.
Wait, I could go into the difference.
Josh was the one that put both of these in here. So Josh, if you go ahead and take it away.
So we have patience is like waiting for a tree to bear fruit. It's like putting in the effort and not seeing results necessarily, but having faith and trusting that what you're doing will yield a good result in the future. It's like, there's a lack of anxiety. There's no anger. It's just like, I'm just doing what has to be done, and I know this is the best this is working out to be the best for me. Confidence and optimism in the future. Something better will happen in the future. Cheerful endurance is another synonym I've found. And long suffering just literally means the ability to suffer for a long time. So it's like a physical endurance, like a mental endurance, like the ability for you to not have a mental meltdown or something, like having just physical and mental endurance. So patience comes from like a kind of like a future outlook optimism thing, and then endurance is like I am literally built to endure. Does that make sense?
So long suffering's a lot more specific, and patience seems a lot more general.
Yeah. It seems like more of a spiritual thing.
Specific, yeah. Long suffering almost seems like a more specific application of patience.
Right, I would agree with that. Yeah.
Okay.
So should we just start with patience, I guess?
Yeah.
Webster's defines it as the capacity to endure what is difficult or disagreeable without complaining.
Okay.
That sounds like the definition of long suffering too.
It does.
What the first sentiment for patience is long suffering. I very much admire patient people, and that is because I can be a difficult person to be around sometimes, and I recognize that. So people who have the capability to be patient with me, I find that I just really like that. I mean, it's something that I need because of me and other people, because I can be difficult to get along with sometimes. So patience is something. Yeah, I don't know. I gravitate towards those people who have that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with it. I think patience is probably gonna go in number one for now for me as well, because
oh my goodness, he's saying it.
Really...
He's doing it
for now.
He's just doing it. Wow.
My reasoning is like it's such a useful thing in a relationship. Like it functions so well in an actual relationship. Like,
you're actually so right.
Like a lot of these like joy. I didn't fully communicate this last round, but like you can have a bunch of joy, but that's like kind of like an internal isolated thing, and it doesn't easily translate to how you. Well, it does to some extent, but isn't as effectively translated to other people or communicated to other people as patience is. Like patience is very visible, isn't it? Yeah, you can feel someone's patience, and it's such a valuable thing.
You can, yeah, especially for me, man. I feel it all the time.
Same. I love patient people.
Patience all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's fun. Yeah, patient people are
goated. Number one.
Goated. Yeah, goated. I don't know if I would go number one. I'm feeling number two, but I don't know if I have a valid reason for that. Where are you feeling, Jake?
I'm feeling number three.
Oh,
what, Jacob?
He hates patient people.
Yes, I hate patient people.
This is something Jake strives not to be.
I feel like I am pretty patient, so I'm like, I don't see what the problem here. Patience.
Yeah. What's going on, guys? What's the big deal?
I'm so patient that I don't even realize other people aren't patient.
I don't think that.
I don't think that works. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a good argument for why I'm thinking that it's third, other than just I feel like I value peace and joy more.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna throw mine in two for now, and I might come back to it.
Okay. I'm actually putting long suffering with patience for me. So I'm doing them both.
Mm-hmm.
I think I probably would put long suffering for patience.
Yeah.
Really? That's fascinating.
Yeah. Because long suffering is referring. It makes me think of more like
pain, right?
Intense situations.
Yeah.
So it's like, you don't really know who somebody is until you see them in like a conflict or
Mm-hmm.
like real trouble or trials, like when real
That's true.
difficult things hit, you see a little bit more of who they are. So somebody could
There's a
appear
lot of truth to that.
to be patient, but then like something hits and then they lose it and they lose
Mm-hmm.
control.
I really like that reasoning a lot. I think long suffering is even more visible than patient, right? It's almost impossible not to see long suffering in other people because, you know that they're going through a trial, right? And you can see it. You can see it.
It doesn't feel as potentially fake. It feels pretty real. It feels pretty
very genuine. Very genuine. I think I'm right there with them. I'm going to put long suffering in front of patience, so it's my number 2.
Interesting. I think I'm gonna actually. Or you had something more to say?
Just real quick, I think this really ties into my argument for joy. Is I just really admire people that are able to take a lot of hits and still keep going. Like that's just something that I don't know. I've always loved those characters in movies. Those are like my favorite characters in movies that are able to keep going under the hardest circumstances. And that's someone I want to be able to be. I want to have that mental capacity, and it's not easy. Obviously, that is not being able to long suffer. I feel like is one of the hardest things to do on this list, just because it implies pain.
Yeah,
it implies hardship, right?
Yeah, it
so
does.
I would put 2.
Okay, Josh, where are you putting long suffering?
I'm thinking I'll probably put it second to last because.
Oh, you're such a fake.
Look. Let me defend myself, please. Come on. Peacemaker, come on. Sheesh. Okay, so basically, I think if I have a friend who's pretty bad at long suffering, like I can, like you're able to comfort them, you're able to help and support them, and it's not like if I'm in the context of this specific podcast, like do you value friends that are more capable of long suffering or less? Like I would think it would be nice to have a friend that could handle their problems, but like I won't necessarily be like offended or treat them as any less of a friend if they weren't capable of handling slightly lighter problems. I would be able to like help them out or talk to them and be there for them.
Theoretically.
So, I don't think that's like I need a friend who's long suffering necessarily. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. I think again,
I'll put it below joy. Actually, I think it's least right now.
Well, I would say this isn't a tier list saying what is needed. It's what we value, and I don't need a long suffering friend, but it's something I definitely value quite a bit. It's something I admire more than maybe other fruits of the spirit, and I think that was the core of this tier list for me.
Yeah, I would say value as well. Yeah, I don't think I value it as much as you do. Then,
all right, that is a fair argument.
All right, we're moving on to kindness, and we could throw in goodness in there if we want to, so we can distinguish between the two.
Okay. Did you want to Merriam-Webster it before I go?
Yes, when you're ready. The Merriam-Webster's defines kindness as the quality or state of being kind.
Bruh.
Wow. All right. A lot to dissect there. Let's dive into that.
This is the soundbite part where we're like, wah, wah, wah.
Yeah. Oh, man. I got to get to it. Hold on. And sad horn. There we go. That is sad. It involves treating people with kindness and respect. Kindness can also refer to a kind deed or favor. Yeah, that's about it. It's pretty vague.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that like something like the cardinal sin, defining something by using itself to define itself or whatever? Yeah, that's like a big no-no.
Dictionary.
That leaves you at square one, right?
Yeah. Secular.
Like, say you didn't know what kindness was at all.
Yeah.
And that's what you read. Like, where do you go with that? You know, like okay.
Mm-hmm.
I like treating people with respect and dignity. Like that seems like that goes very much hand in hand with kindness. Is treating others how you want to be treated, right?
Yes.
That's kind of the core of kindness.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something you would prepare, Josh?
Oh yeah, let me finish mine. So we have selfless, which we literally just said, compassionate, merciful. It can be on the spot, but it could also be intentional and planned ahead of time. We can't really be kind to God, only imperfectly kind to other people, because kindness is like based. It's like something that other people would benefit from. So it's like it's a definitely a relational thing. It's like you can be patient with God, but not really kind. So that's an interesting little trivia fact. We have
interesting. Actually, I like that. I could think about
that was really interesting. Yeah. We have can be often used in spite of a negative circumstance. Like kindness could be unexpected. Like if someone slaps your cheek, you could choose to be kind. So it's like a choice.
Choose to turn the other cheek.
A response to evil can soften people's hearts, and it's thoughtful and generous, and it's useful. That's all I have.
I like kind people. They're nice to be around. What do you guys think?
Well, yeah.
Kind of W's. W's.
I wish kind people didn't exist.
Lowest tier on the list. I just can't stand them. You come up to me smiling and you give me something, I'm probably slapping you across the face.
And we're not being friends. That's as far as that relationship is going. I think whenever I don't know why, whenever I think of kind people, and this is probably a very skewed and wrong representation of them, I always think of kind people as people who are easily manipulative, like being able to be manipulated and taken advantage of. And that they're kind of weak, and I
that's not.
I don't mean that like that. That's just the first my thought when it comes to kind people, and I know that's wrong, and I know that's not what kindness is. But that's my thought of when I think of kind people. I think of people who are weak, and I know kindness obviously isn't a weakness; it is a fruit of the spirit.
Yeah, weakness, kindness. You're weak.
That's just my initial reaction to that one.
You're beta.
yeah, right.
All right, Josh, join the last place kindness.
I'm not gonna.
No,
I'm not going to.
I don't know if I'm going.
Last. All right,
that's just
a little bit.
That's just what I don't know if you guys ever get that vibe too.
No, 100%.
I see what you're saying, but I don't really think about it that way too much.
Maybe Josh, why would you think that too?
I think I actually fall into this category exactly after lots of self-inspection. I feel like a lot of the time I'll just be nice because I feel like I want to be nice, and people might not want to tell me that it's not, it's too much. Stop.
Or being nice when it feels easy to be nice.
Yes.
Like that, right? Or being nice to people you like being nice to because you like how it feels to be nice to them, right?
Mm-hmm. And kindness actually. Okay, here's something we can discuss. You might be kind to someone, and then you might see that they're taking advantage of you, and this is something in my personal experience. It would then be the kind thing to retract your kindness because that's what's best for the other person. I think that retracting your kindness is kindness, which is really interesting.
Is that the biblical perspective? Because
turn the other cheek, right?
we are supposed to be kind no matter how they react or use that kindness. I think of when I give money to a homeless person, yes, I could just think he's going to go buy that on use that money I gave him to buy drugs, but that's not the motivation behind my action. I can't determine how he's going to use that. My point and what I need to be focusing on is just being kind, because to be kind,
Yeah, but
think about it. I mean,
go ahead, Jake.
I mean, think about it in terms of, I guess, we're looking at it in Friends, but I mean, look at if God in the Bible was kind to the Israelites and then they just kind of spat in his face, which effectively they did all the time, he didn't immediately say, all right, well, rescinding the kindness. He was long-suffering and extended kindness again, and then they spat in his face again. So there is precedent for us to, I think, continue to give kindness. Now, it's going to depend very much on the situation, and very much on okay, how is this person taking advantage of this, or how are they reacting to it? Are they just unappreciative, but it would be really good to extend more kindness to them because they're actually suffering a lot, and we're trying to kind of break through to them? Or are they just insufferable person that just it's oh, I can manipulate this person,
right?
And in that case it's okay, if we sense that, yeah, I'm not gonna play this game. and
But you kind of explain that to him, right? You don't just like cut him off. You explain.
Right. I would say that's the kind of thing to do.
It's situational. It takes wisdom.
Right. Every circumstance is different. I think for me, I would put kindness.
But we're looking at in general like disposition, right? Dispel like the wisdom that it takes to ascertain what way to act in each situation and how our friends act in those situations. We're looking at a friend who has this disposition to be kind towards others, or in ourselves. How much do we value that? Not like this single kind deed. Do I look at them and say that is a kind person? And that's inspiring. It, when they're kind to me, it makes me be like, oh wow, that seems selfless.
I think when I think about kindness, I really admire people who are kind when no one's watching and there's nothing in it for them. And if we're talking about that kind of kindness, which I think is the biblical kindness, I would put that third, so ahead of patience and peace, because I think that I think that's very admirable when you're only motivated to do kindness.
Right. So that goes
when there's nothing in it for you.
Yeah, that goes towards the disposition of kindness.
Go ahead, Jake. Sorry.
No. Go.
A lot of your justification for where you rank them is how much you admire your friends, which is interesting. You keep saying, I really admire people that have this disposition, so I'm going to put this here. That's interesting because it's like what you look for most in a friend is someone who you can admire. Do you think that's accurate?
Let me think about it.
Because I'm not viewing it from that lens personally. Like I'm kind of just viewing it as like, oh, is it pleasant to have a friend like this, rather than do I admire a friend like this?
Well, it's just like I feel like you said this whole thing's value, and I feel like value and admire kind of go.
Oh yeah, I know you're right. Yeah,
that's just kind of how I view it. I don't know. I mean, I don't tend to only be around people I admire, but that is a big motivation for the people I hang around. I don't know. I'll have to think about that more.
Okay, yeah, that was kind of off topic. But I noticed you kept saying, like, I admire this, so it's going to go pretty high. So that's I don't think that's always, for me personally, like necessarily a justification.
No, that's really eye-opening and helpful. Very helpful criticism. I would put kindness 3, and I want to bump long-suffering to 1, now that I've thought about it more.
Whoa, okay. We're getting some interesting things going on here.
That looks good to me. That's good.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
Josh, nope, go for yours.
Okay. I actually might pull a Jake here. I think a friend who isn't too kind is understandable. Like, I could probably go last for now.
Oh, wait, that's actually really good reasoning to, like, think of the opposite of what this virtue is, and could you be around that person?
Yeah.
Oh, I like that a lot, actually. That gives me a lot of things. Hold on. I think I'm going to keep mine the way it is, but that is really eye-opening.
Yeah, I think this one is an interesting one because, I think kindness is something that I really want to exercise in life. But I don't know. I think part of me putting it in the last is probably because I'm just always suspicious of kind people.
I know, right?
Too
true.
Jaded.
Yeah, I agree. See, that's what I was thinking. Like,
I used to be more of an optimist, and now I'm a little bit more of a realist in some ways. It's like, all right.
Yeah, you've seen enough, right?
I don't think
you've been around a long time. You've seen a lot.
But when you really find somebody who is just is genuinely really kind,
they're hard to find. They're hard to find, right?
That probably goes harder than patience for me.
That was harder. That's such a funny way to phrase that.
I just
I agree, dude. Genuinely kind people, when you know that's their heart. Oh, man.
Wait, so Jacob, would you say people who are kind of kind and kind of patient, you prefer patient, but people who are mega kind are better than people who are mega patient?
Maybe.
So it depends.
I'm leaving it right here. I'm leaving it the way it is, though.
Interesting.
All right.
Cool.
I like how unanimous we all are so far. Look at me and Jake's value of peace. That's awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Love that.
Goodness.
This is interesting.
Goodness.
Okay, I'll go real quick. Goodness
Yep.
is like holy, pure, righteous, literally godliness, and it's used
Right.
to describe actions. Having goodness doesn't necessarily mean that you have. Well, sorry. Having goodness means you have an upright internal character as well.
Hmm.
It's just like a desire for justice, like.
You are going to love this Merriam-Webster definition. It's
Okay.
going to be quite eye-opening. It's going to make you rethink the world a little bit, rethink yourself.
This is going to be an L.
So here we go. Goodness is a noun that refers to the state or quality of being, get ready, being good.
No.
Oh.
So we all like fall out of our seat.
It meant that this whole time, like.
That's the YouTube thumbnail of us like losing our minds.
This whole time.
It can also refer to generosity, kindness, moral excellence. So that kind of goes with godliness, piety, and virtue. Yeah, that deserves another sad horn.
Thank you.
Miriam, you have to step it up. I'm disappointed. I'm honestly disappointed.
No, there is a sense in which I kind of view this more along the lines of morality rather than like necessarily how you come across to other people or how you act. It does seem to be more of a virtue thing.
So would it?
I would call kindness a virtue, a kind person a virtue. But go ahead.
So would it? Kindness is more like actions. Goodness is more your moral code.
Like what's actually
kindness-
happening inside, right?
You see kindness more than you see goodness in
Yes.
your friends.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. So that makes me think I would not value it as much because you can't really see it. And
It's
it would
like
be hard
under
to
kindness,
detect.
That makes sense.
It'd be hard to detect someone's goodness, especially since like.
I mean, I would value it more because I feel like, so I would if I saw somebody promoting their goodness, I would put it at the bottom, right? It's like, no, I don't believe that. But if I saw somebody living a life where they were continuing to make like morally right decisions in the face of difficult situations as well.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm throwing in situations here like we've been doing, but I don't know. I think there's greater value to that in a way. But
Well, that
you
kind
could
of
also have like, oh man, I think why kindness might be, and maybe I'm thinking about this wrong. So when I hear kindness, I'm thinking of more of how one person's acting towards another, and goodness is more of how the person is just
Like
living how they are. And so you can be really good but not be kind, and to me that's more of a failing. Like I would rather have a friend who is because if they're being kind towards others, that means they are caring and thinking about other people, whereas I don't know if goodness in and of itself. Now if you were like completely good, if you were wholly good, then obviously you would be being kind too. But if you just like had a good moral code, but you were just, I mean, it's kind of like the Pharisees, right? Like they were so focused on doing what they believed was right. Now, obviously, they did not do that. So you could still do a better job of not being prideful and showing it off like they did. But they were so focused on that they weren't even thinking about the poor and the needy and the suffering of the people around them.
So you're saying it's impossible to be kind without being good, but you can be not kind and have a level of goodness still.
That's right.
That's kind of what you're saying.
Pretty much what I was saying.
Okay. I think that makes sense.
Interesting.
I mean, I think I'm still leaning towards kindness because it's just, I think I'm using the same reasoning for kindness you're using for goodness, and the reason I jumped kindness so much is because I was thinking of people who act kind when no one's watching and there's nothing in it for them, and you're kind of using the same for goodness when there's nothing in it for them and they still choose to be more.
No, that's not what I'm saying. because goodness is more about like a moral code. So it's more about doing what is right. And so it's
I like
not
that.
necessarily
Doing what is right.
contingent upon are people watching or are they not watching. You could do it both ways. You can do things only when people are watching or do it when they're not watching. It's just like I'm going to do what's right in this circumstance in X, Y, and Z. And so like seeing people that think, okay, I'm going to do what's right. I'm going to do what's right. The problem I have with it is focusing on what do I need to do that's right, whereas kindness is inherently focused
on others,
other people.
Right.
Which is the one reason why I think I would put it higher, and I think I'd put goodness below it. But
I actually really like that.
Yeah, there's like a selfish component to this question, like because we're asking what do we value most in other people, like what would give us the most value, and like a kind person would give us more value than a good person.
You're kind of right with that one.
You know. That's interesting, though. I didn't think about that.
Way to call us all out, Josh.
Yeah. Now they know.
Hey, I set up this, this is the question.
Rather have somebody be kind towards me, Josh.
I would put goodness second to last. So it's in front of peace. And I'm going to change patience in front of kindness. Can I do that? Yeah. That's what I like.
Josh?
You made me think less of kind people, Jake, okay? That's what you accomplished. Are you happy? Happy?
I have a lot more joy now. Not just happiness.
Lasting. It's going to last.
All right, so for me, I think Jake made a great point. I think goodness sprouts kindness. Like it's like a...
Oh, number one, throw a curveball. So you value it the most.
So it's going to go above kindness. I'm trying to find where it's going to go. Long-suffering. Above long-suffering. Yeah, I think you're right there.
Wait. So you disagreed with Jacob.
Yeah.
Oh, you value it more than...
I think he agreed with some of what I was saying, but not my ranking.
Not the conclusion.
Yep.
Okay, fair enough. Again, all right. we're all locked in step.
We can change these, but we're moving on to faithfulness. Faithfulness.
Okay. All right, let's get the lame definition out of the way. I want the good one. Merriam-Webster's defines faithfulness as the quality of being faithful to someone or something. It is characterized as a lasting loyalty and trustworthiness in relationships, especially marriage and friendship. Unfailing loyalty to someone or something and putting that loyalty into consistent practice, regardless of extenuating circumstances. I like the last part.
I'm gonna let's see. What I have is faithfulness. With regards to faithfulness in Christ, is like steadfast, dedicated, dependable, and worthy of trust. So this person like places their trust in Christ. It's like loyalty to God. It's let's see. Patience carries faith, which is interesting. I was trying to compare them to the other fruit of the Spirit, and like faith, like how I described patience earlier is you putting your faith in God in the process. So they're kind of tightly linked in that way. Like you can't have patience without faith to some extent. So
yeah.
Let's see. We have faith is having made up your mind that God is working to do what is best, but yeah, patience and faith are really, really related. So that's a conversation starter.
You made me think also how much trust is involved in faithfulness, and that is something that is incredibly hard to find in people, and something that I really admire in my friend. No, okay, you're gonna call me out again. I find that pleasant to be able to have trust in friends, and that is hard, and that is a huge blessing when you're able to find that in someone.
Okay, but let's be clear here. I don't think we're saying trustworthy. We're saying this friend has a lot of faith in Christ. That's what you think?
Oh, that's how you were? Yeah.
So
I thought it was like faithfulness and like loyalty to us.
Right. So we can talk about this.
So selfish, doesn't it?
We can discuss both.
No. I mean, it's possible that like in the actual passage that we're taking this from, we could discuss it maybe having more of an emphasis on towards faith in Christ. But if that's how we're ranking it, then like Josh said, just basically say, okay, I am viewing it this way, and then Paxton, if you feel like, okay, well, I interpret it this way, and I'm still gonna vote on it or place it on my list based on more trust and dependability I see in other people versus their faith in Christ. Because I don't know if we've been, Josh, my only point to you is I don't know if we've been viewing these other ones in the same light. So,
well, this one is,
but this one is, I mean,
personal,
faith is like one of the core tenets of Christianity, right? Having faith in Christ. Whereas like the other ones, it doesn't work. Like kindness towards Christ,
love,
right?
Love,
well, love too.
Yeah,
but
we'll get
just
there.
talking about the ones we've talked about already.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Goodness towards God. You could maybe say goodness before God. You know, a moral character that's, somebody that's focusing on that. But I interpreted a little bit more as Paxton did, just for this list particularly, of just okay. Do I consider this being a faithful friend? And they're a friend that's defined by faithfulness.
I think
I didn't view it so much as, are they someone that has strong belief in God? Because yes, that is faith, but that is faith in God. So faith in of itself, that word is not just tied to Christ. Like I can say that person is faithful in their duties at work. Right?
Okay.
That has nothing to do. So I think you are applying it very specifically, and that's fine. But I don't think that's how I'm going to be ranking it.
Yeah, going off what Jake said, because I'm going to do it a little bit more personally. I think faithfulness is one of the absolute core values of just what it means to be a friend. And I think if you lack faithfulness, you lack a core value of what it means to just be a friend to someone. And like I think I'm going to use what you used earlier, like the opposite of an unfaithful friend. That is like not a friend, right? Because you're not being faithful to them. You're not being loyal to them, and every circumstance is different. Maybe they have a good reason. I don't know, but I'm just
like
saying that.
Relationships are built on trust, right?
I think a faithful friend is what a friend is, and that is something I should strive to be. Just be a faithful friend to people. I don't know. Does that make sense?
No, it makes sense. Yeah. So faithfulness, you would define, like, because it's a little different than what I've said. You would say it's like dependable, present, always like willing to lend a ear,
always there.
Yeah.
Sacrificing themselves for you, being loyal to you, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Being a man of their word.
I see.
Like if you're not a man of your word, it's really hard to be a really good friend. At least that's the way I think about it.
Interesting. Okay. So yeah, where would you put it then?
I mean, I think, I think it's the core value of what it means to be a good friend, like I said earlier. So I would put it at number 1. I think faithful friends are the best friends to have. For me personally.
Josh,
I'm gonna go ahead and take the definition of you two because I think that's.
You don't have to. You don't have to.
No, we should be consistent.
Don't give it the peer pressure. Don't give it the peer pressure.
No. I'm not pressure.
Okay.
I think. I don't think I'm prepared to decide what that word meant in that context. I thought it was like faith to God, but because of this podcast, we're talking about friendships, and so let's say that we're talking about a faithful friend. I would say yeah, fifth. Yeah, it's gonna be a higher one. Let's see.
Come to number 1, land with me.
I don't know. No, I don't know.
Right up here. Faithful friends are amazing. Don't tell me you don't like not faithful friends.
I'm gonna put it below. Probably let's put it below patience for now.
Okay, you're close. I'll get you to number 1 by the end.
Okay.
Boom. Paxton stole my thunder. I was putting it number 1.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, you can make it sound better than I do, so give it a whirl.
Wait, I'm kind of getting convinced now.
No, I mean I've already kind of discussed it. Like I mean, faithfulness and loyalty and like thinking of friendships, like that is kind of like the highest thing.
Right?
It's the thing that I want to be, that I feel like
exactly.
And it's a thing that like, that when you find that friend that will just always be there and it's just steadfast. It's like that's one of the greatest things to have.
Yeah. Like with my top 3, faithfulness, long suffering, joy. Those are things that I feel I really strive, and that's what I want to be. I want to be a faithful, joyful, long suffering friend. So I don't know. That's why I probably value them so much, as it's something I really strive to be able to be.
All right.
I might be convinced, actually, because like having an unfaithful friend would be worse than having an impatient
isn't that like
friend.
not a friend almost? Like obviously circumstances. There could be circumstances that come up. Whatever. Like everyone's different. Like an unfaithful friend. Like you. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Put it number 1 for me too, please.
Oh my goodness! It happened.
I think that is accurate, technically speaking.
The interesting content just took a nosedive now that we all agreed.
Sure. Yeah. Everybody, this is when people click off of the video.
Oh man!
See you guys later.
They're a bunch of sheep. Bunch of sheep.
Sheeple.
Sheeple.
All right, gentleness.
Gentleness. What do you have, Bex?
Okay. Okay. Well, the quality or state of being gentle.
Thank you, Bex.
So it's going to be like being kind, tendered, or mild-mannered. Docile, benevolent.
Docile's a terrible
That
way
sounds so bad.
Yeah.
I want a docile friend.
I prefer to have a docile friend.
That
pretty lame. Seems so wrong.
Yeah.
We lost your camera. But
okay, yep, I'm getting it back.
No worries.
All right.
So for me, we have it comes from a state of humility and meekness. It's someone who lacks gentleness is like prideful and easily angered and rash, feels the need for revenge. A gentle heart comes from having love for others. It's like the way in which you take action. It's like you can gently tell someone something, or you could not have any sort of empathy for them. It's really like an empathetic thing. So
interesting.
That's gentleness. So your definition was interesting because it kind of likened it to kindness, and so
it did. It made it.
We should make sure we understand how it's different from being kind, and like we mentioned it before, it's like kindness is like about actions, goodness describes motives, and gentleness describes the manner in which we handle people.
I almost think of gentleness almost in like the tactfulness of being kind. So like if you're doing a deed that is kind to somebody, but you're like, here you go, here's a lawnmower that you were wanting to use, versus like, hey, I thought about it and I know your grass is getting long and you haven't mowed your lawn in a while, so I got my trailer and brought my lawnmower over to you. Right? You did the same exact deed. Now obviously I didn't say it in a way that would come across as kind, but gentleness is almost more about like how you proceed in the kindness. So it's kind of a wherewithal to have like a just warmness towards people and a disposition towards them. It's also like very, I don't know. I think gentleness doesn't always come out. It comes out when the like situations
calls for it.
Right. So there are like certain, like somebody could be a gentle person, but you don't
notice
that. You don't notice that until you see them dealing with somebody who's maybe a little bit of okay, well think of like in the terms of like conflict and peace. So if somebody's like very just like a conflict oriented person that's high strung, and then gentleness is almost like dealing with them patiently and not getting worked up while they're getting worked up. You're just consistent, you're coming across it in a very warm way where it causes them to kind of settle down because they're like, oh, okay, it's almost, I don't know, an energy in a way,
so
an energy.
Something all law enforcement officers should have.
Yes.
That seems
de-escalates, yeah.
De-escalate. That's a good word.
Yeah.
Give me like a scenario where like, I don't know if one can come to mind where like you saw that and you're like, oh, that person was gentle.
Oh, like something I actually saw.
Or something, or like a scenario that makes it more visible.
I mean,
where you were like, that person was really gentle. They
right. So think of it like somebody died, right? And I don't know. There are a lot of different ways you can view how people come alongside others. Where if you're consoling a friend who lost a loved one, and you go up to them and you're very kind, you express, I'm sorry for your loss, and I prepared some meals for you, so you have these meals. You don't have to go out and prepare anything or go out and eat or prepare anything. Here they are, just put them in the oven. But then there's so I would look at that as the kindness towards someone in that situation. And you could be seen as even being more gentle, I think, by just recognizing, I'm just going to sit down with this person and hear them out, and just maybe if it's meaningful to them, give them a hug, right? Depending on, well, I would give them a hug anyways if they had lost somebody, but sitting down with them with your arm around them as they just talk to you and they just console, or maybe they don't say anything and you just sit there with them. That's a gentleness, because it takes a recognition of the situation. And I know I didn't specifically give an example, but I am specifically thinking of things I've seen, of how people deal with things. So it's how people help each other. So gentleness is almost understanding the situation. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of that goes into it.
So it's self-sacrificing yourself and being humble and looking how best to.
Yeah, but it's also I think we're overthinking it too. Of imagine a kid sees a bird that its wing is damaged, and the parents are trying to help their kid deal with this bird, and they say, okay, go ahead and pick it up and put it back in the nest. And the kid just grabs it, and they're like, no, be gentle, right? And then there's a carefulness. Now, grabbing it, putting it in the nest abruptly is still doing a kind deed and a good deed, but gentleness is almost how they do it.
I think I think for me, I would need to study this more. I don't have I'm struggling to really understand it. I would need to study this more, so I'm going to put it at my last one, but that might not be how I really value it. I would have to study it more and understand it more.
Okay.
I mean, I just say read the Gospels and see how Christ dealt with people and his patience with them and his gentleness.
I'm trying to think through this one. Because it's interesting how I have kindness at the end, and I'm thinking of putting gentleness above kindness, which is kind of counterintuitive. I don't know. Does that make sense? Do any of you guys think there's no way you could put gentleness above kindness? That doesn't make sense. Is that a contradiction?
I was going to put gentleness right after kindness.
Okay.
I do kind of connect them a little bit. One of the things about these lists is just don't feel bad if you have something at the end. Because I'm I have goodness at the end.
Yeah, it's not more important, right?
Right,
it's just...
right. It's that means I hate people who are good.
Yeah, I think also I'm going to use the opposite of an ungentle person would be I don't know, I feel I could get along with someone pretty easily if they were not gentle. And maybe that's because it's something I need to work
brash,
on more.
A little harsh, But yeah, I think I can relate to that too, Pax.
Yeah.
I'm give me the cold, hard, truth.
Yeah.
Don't worry about beating around the bush with me. Just
hit me straight.
Yeah, hit me straight.
Yeah. So I'd put it last for me, using that reasoning.
Okay.
Oh man, that's reasoning tough. Makes me put it last too, actually, because I am the same way.
Yeah.
I think I'm pretty much the opposite. I'm thinking 3 or 4.
Okay.
3 or 4 right now.
Nice. Way to mix it up, though. Hats off.
I'm gonna probably put above goodness.
Okay.
Ooh! Wow. Crazy.
Yep.
Down to the final 2.
All right. Self-control.
Okay.
Don't we all need more of that?
Don't we all? Wait, you're just putting it last immediately? Did you think we wouldn't see that?
Sorry. I don't have much self-control.
No, you don't say anything in this whole round. That about sums it up.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Lame definition. Self-control is defined as a restraint exercised over one's own impulses, emotions, and desires.
For once, I gotta say props to Miriam. That's basically...
Yeah, I actually like that. Can we get the clapping going? Hold on 1 second. There we go.
Yep.
Actually, yeah. I'm going to say that self-control is defined as a restraint exercised over one's own impulses, emotions, and desires. That sounds very accurate.
I just have the active effort we put forth to resist temptation, which is like impulses and desires. Easy peasy. Yeah, spot on. So if we have a friend who lacks self-control, like I don't know. It seems a little vague because like there's all sorts of different desires and impulses that a friend could have. So it's really
it could be really fun, right? It could be like a really fun friend who
exactly.
Self-control.
It's a wild card. Like how a person who lacks self-control could be a really really good or really really bad friend depending on what they lack self-control.
Their goodness. I think that depends on how good they are, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that is true. That's actually genius, Paxton. I didn't think about that.
Because they're choosing to do right, and you can do that without self-control. I don't know.
The more good they are, the less the self-control is a problem, I guess. Interesting. Because that addresses the root of like where the temptations stem from. Interesting.
I think self-control is something I struggle with a lot in a lot of different areas of my life. So it's something, I keep saying, it's something that when I see it, I'm like, wow, that's really cool. I really strive to be more disciplined in my life, and so when I see disciplined people, especially my friends, that's something I value quite a bit. I think discipline's cool and something that's much needed. But I also am like, your reasoning makes sense. Like there's also a lot of friends who are very impulsive, and I'm like, that's really exciting, that's really fun, and I like to be around that, So it really depends on how I'm gonna translate this.
I see. What do you think, Jake?
I think I get what Paxton's saying. So I think
it's something I struggle with a lot.
I think I kind of look at it as, in myself, I'd probably put it higher on this list. In my friends, I would put it at the bottom of this list.
Yeah, see, I'm the exact same way. But it's like when I see other people who are self-controlled, that is something that admire it. Yeah, that's something I value very much because I realize how hard that is to do.
So you might put it a little bit higher. Because I think I value, I think I value these other attributes, these other fruits.
I would put it in between kindness and goodness, for me.
Okay. Oh, you're splitting kindness and goodness up?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
You're not supposed to do that.
You're not supposed to do that.
No.
Just broke.
That's where I'm sitting on with that one.
But that demonstrates your lack of self-control by putting it in front of or in between kindness and goodness.
Yeah,
breaking those two up.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I think it's a cool thing to have a friend that's really I like the word disciplined. That is like
right.
That is self-control, and that's a good thing. Like I like friends that are disciplined. I don't think it's a necessarily horrendous thing to have a friend who's not disciplined. Like I think I could hang around with them and
yes, yeah, it makes sense either way.
Here's the thing though, but here's the thing, how do people rub off on me? Like what lack of the fruit of the spirit would be the most detrimental for me if I were to have a friend that lacked it? Like, and I would think it's possible if I'm around someone who's lacking self-control, I will become more like them. So,
which is not a good thing because you want the fruit of the spirit of self-control. So that would be
correct.
Bad.
So
valid argument.
There's that, but I don't think just if I were to have a new friend right now, I don't think this person lacks self-control, there's no way we could ever be friends. I don't think that's realistic. So it's towards the end somewhere.
Gut reaction is
I'm gonna have to say
it boom.
Probably above long-suffering.
Yeah, okay. That's valid.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that, yep.
And final verdict coming in. Jacob says, no surprises.
Last place.
Yeah, I think we said enough about that.
Oh, I just realized we were giving Paxton grief about separating kindness and goodness.
I know, I saw it.
Josh has like two
already.
Yeah.
Story of my life right there.
Sorry, Pax.
No, you're good. All right, I think the last one's going to have no shockers either, but let's go with love. Merriam-Webster defines love as a feeling of strong attachment induced by which A feeling of strong attachment induced by that which delights or commands admiration. Devoted attachment to or tender or passionate affection for one of the opposite sex. So that's, I think, that the first statement was general. The second one was more like partner love.
Mm-hmm. We're
talking about friends, so we can ignore that one.
Yes, we were talking about friends specifically. I don't think I have a perfect definition. A very, very minimal definition. It's like love is patient and kind. It includes a lot of the fruit we've talked about, but yeah, I
suffers long.
Yes,
I think you said it right there. I think love is all of this. Like everything that stems from every one of these fruits is love, and it should be motivated by love. And I'm just gonna put love at 1. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, I think we basically described a lot about love with everything we just said. So all of these other things.
Hold on.
Sorry.
What's happening? What's happening?
Wait.
Whoa! What? It's like bugging out.
Sorry.
There we go. Thank you. Wow, that was a struggle.
I was just having too much fun.
Oh, you're calling Josh's.
Wait, hold up, Jacob. Hold up. Hold your horses.
Bring it back down. Bring it down. Bring it back down.
There's one thing we have to make clear here. Whoa, Jacob. Okay. So, as Christians, we may think, okay, love has to be first because it's said all over the place, like love is the most important thing. But you could make the argument that is something we have to prioritize to cultivate in ourselves. Like that is the highest thing we should aim for. But it could be different with what we value in other people. So I just want to make sure we're asking that question.
That's fair.
Is it true that you value someone who has love more than, like, Jacob, faithfulness or Paxton faithfulness?
Well,
do you think love actually includes faithfulness too? Like,
yeah, I think.
So,
like, go ahead.
I think love is the ultimate expression of self-sacrifice and selflessness, right? So that, when I think about it, I think about that. I think about somebody who will always be thinking of other people,
like Mother Teresa.
Area. That's like love is something that drives you to action. That is, this person is more important than me. So I am thinking more about what is good for them, what is their desire, what do they want, and how can I help them? How can I, increase all of these other attributes we've talked about in them? So it's just at its core a focus on another person. So a friend that displays focus on others, that to me is the height of what I look for in other people, the height of what I value in other people.
I totally agree. I think just as long, even more than faithfulness, it just goes hand in hand with what it means to be a friend. And if you don't possess love and someone doesn't love you, I think it's very difficult to make an argument that you guys are friends or
Well, quick question.
Yeah.
Like, what is it that love has that faithfulness doesn't in a friend? Like, why would he put it above faithfulness? I just want to make sure we're completely clear. Because faithfulness is like being present and like having a ear to listen.
Because
you could be faithful and not be gentle. You could be faithful and not have joy. Right? So there are a number of these things that would not exist in faithfulness. So faithfulness is very action-oriented. It's something that makes them dependable. But it doesn't mean they handle every situation with the right disposition.
And you can be faithful without love, but I don't think I would want someone to be,
Yeah.
Actually, I don't even know what that would look like, right?
I think faithfulness is, it is almost more action-related, but there's more of a confidence in a person who has love towards you than a person who's faithful towards you.
And you can see it, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I would probably put it first.
Okay. After all that.
Just
way to make discussion though. I appreciate that.
We just got a question. We got a question.
Okay.
I'm gonna examine mine.
Yeah, I think we all need to take a quick look at ours and how are we feeling? Do we?
So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna just take over real quick. So me and Jacob are just gonna look at Paxton and we're gonna grill him on it. We're gonna like maybe even tell him, "Are you sure about that, Pax?" Like,
okay.
So we're just gonna go row by row and then finish. Okay. So Pax starts with love. We just had this discussion. Faithfulness. That's understandable.
The first two is kind of gimmies.
Jake, I think we can agree on the first two, right?
Yeah, I accept his first two.
Okay. Long suffering. Paxton admires people who can suffer for a long time. Like, okay, that's.
Yeah, are you sure about this, Pax?
I'm very sure about this. Again, like the people I most look up to, the people I most strive to want to be more like, exhibit this. To whatever, they exhibit this very well, and it's something I very much struggle with. So when I see it in a friend, it's something I want to understand how they have that, and I value that quite a bit.
Okay, but here's a question: would that draw you to somebody that you're not a friend with? So you're not friends with them, but could that be like the catalyst more than these other things of like, oh man, I really enjoy, this is a person I want to be friends with?
Because I want to understand how they have that, where it comes from, and how I can, work on having that more. And it has this interest of me in getting to know them.
So you value friends because you want to mimic them.
That's a part of it.
Okay. Yeah. No. I think that's admirable. I think that's fine. And then
passable.
Passable. Yes. Joy and then patience.
We're all pretty good with joy.
Joy, yeah. We're actually pretty consistent, yeah.
We're pretty good there.
Yeah, I like that. And then patience. Patience is always good. Always good to have a patient friend.
Kindness.
You don't care about gentleness, which we talked about briefly, but like...
Yeah. I think I was the least high on gentleness because I see myself being able to get along with anyone who's not gentle. And maybe I just don't understand it enough. So that's why I put it last. I'm sure if I understood it more and was able to see the difference between a gentle and a non-gentle person, I might value it more.
I would say, in my interpretation of gentleness and kind of how I laid it out, that I think it is underrated in the effect that it has on other people. So when you see, and when I have been gentle towards others, and when I've seen that, people latch onto that and notice that right away, and it immediately is very endearing. And it almost like if I were trying to talk to somebody who had a different view than myself and I approached it with gentleness, that would be the most peaceful thing to do. That would be the thing that instigated peacemaking and peacekeeping with that person, is not what I said, but how I said it, how I came across to them. Like that, the effect of gentleness, I think, is extremely high. Higher than a lot of these other things. Like if I was patient with somebody, that wouldn't hit as hard with them than if I was gentle.
Like a more positive impact on their life. Yeah. Basically, that's what you're saying.
Yeah, people. I think people just notice that more.
So that's interesting that you have patience above gentleness, Jacob. Then.
Yeah, because this is a list that is like, I guess what I value in other people around me.
My only question.
I think too much of this I probably thought about in how they are towards me, and I'm like, I'm fine if you're not as gentle towards me because I don't take things very personally. Well, I do, but I just bottle it all up and I'm just angry at people inside. No, I'm kidding.
Why did
I have a lot of stuff I need to tell you guys.
What was your argument for peace being so high?
For peace being so high that it was a disposition. I could probably move peace around, but more of it's a very specific kind of like all these things up at the top. Well, some of the bottom are this way. It's a disposition towards desiring resolution between people. So your focus is outward towards other people rather like inward towards yourself. So it's like you care more that and I applied it to just general everyday life and how you interact with people, not resolving a debate over, Israel
like
and Palestine,
actual conflict resolution.
What is right. It's no, you meet somebody who's Israeli in the supermarket and you have an interaction with them. How do you interact with them then? So I looked at it as a selfless thing to live at peace with all men in a way that's more in just
and women
day-to-day life.
Nice.
Women are included in the word men.
I know.
But yeah, so that's kind of how I looked at it. So I applied it more in kind of that individualistic way rather than like nation state or just ideals.
I do like that.
I was actually, real quick, I was going to ask you, Pax, like, why... Yeah. I was going to question if you wanted to move peace up and why it's, like, so low, because you seem to, like, value peace and you want to be a peacemaker. I guess, like, you don't care if your friends are not peacemakers because you're in that role?
I think it's something I really like. Like, I like conflict resolution. I like being able to be friends with everyone and be, no matter what their beliefs are, no matter what their political views are, no matter what, I like to be able to get along with everyone. But I don't mind it if people I'm around don't exhibit that, and like they're more bold and more brash and more whatever, and that's not something that bothers me.
I can kind of agree. I can kind of agree with that. That would be the one argument for me to move it down on my list too, because it's like I can get along with those people.
And I don't mind being around them really. If you, I mean, to a certain extent, I guess you can take that too far. But if it was a more personal scale, it would be higher for me.
Right. Well, and I think I was thinking of like any good friend that I have is probably going to display this peace attribute highly. Because if they are more of like just stirring up trouble all the time and they're more it's hard for me to relate to them, I guess.
Yeah.
And to really it's hard for me to get close to them, I think.
Yeah. I feel like peace people seem more genuine and approachable than people who like just stick to their guns and want to shoot from the hip with what they're saying, if that makes sense.
Like vulnerable, maybe?
No, not vulnerable. More like not open. The opposite of open-mindedness, I guess. And they're just very hard to approach and talk to, which can be very difficult for a friend.
Well, and that's important for a friend, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think peace, like liking somebody who is peaceful, I don't think peaceful and peace itself is, antithetical to truth and to speaking what you believe is right. So it's like you could still approach things and say, okay, this is a controversial topic, but I believe it's important. And so here it is. Like you can be controversial. You can be saying something different and really disagreeing with somebody, but still maintaining peace.
Yeah, absolutely. I know exactly what you're saying.
So I don't think that's
There's a gentleness. I think that's what we were talking about before with the gentleness.
And that's where the gentleness comes in.
Yeah.
I think we are approaching a very good time to end.
Yep. Yeah. We got to get through me and then Jacob and then that's
okay. We're doing it. Okay.
Yeah. So last question for Pax that I have real quick is that like you put kindness above goodness, and just to rehash that, you think is it because you could see kindness that you put kindness above goodness? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a more visible thing.
Makes sense. All right. Any questions on mine? Any?
I
think it.
Why? I think you were. Sorry, I had one. You seemed pretty high on long suffering, but then it ended so low. What happened there? Explain what happened there.
Well, again, I don't. What I tried to communicate at the beginning is like if a friend of mine isn't long suffering, I don't really. I would feel pity for them, but I wouldn't not be able to be their friend.
That's a really good
reason, I would be a friend. I would try and comfort them and support them in any way I can. And it's like if you're not long suffering, that doesn't mean we can't be friends. It's not really very.
I like that reasoning. I like that reasoning a lot, actually.
And that was similar to your answer towards kindness, right? That same logic. of why that's at the bottom?
Yeah, I've been actually thinking about that placement right now, like this whole time. I'm thinking I might just put it above self-control, potentially.
Okay.
But I don't think I value it as much as goodness. I don't know, maybe I might put it above goodness. I'm still kind of unsure because we can see kindness but not goodness, but also I would, in theory, want to have a good friend that values morality, so... yeah, I'm gonna put it below goodness. If you could just adjust that real quick.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm set on that. Yeah.
Wow.
That's my answer. Yeah, I think
you just put long suffering even.
Who cares? Who cares?
Yeah, who cares?
We're all suffering, man.
Yeah.
And anybody watching this is long suffering if they've made it to this point.
Right. Well said.
Through the Simply Irritating Male podcast.
It is irritating. That's
true. It's very irritating. Ugh.
We definitely probably irritated some people tonight.
Mm-hmm.
That's all the questions I had for years. I think you had reasoning for everything else. That makes sense.
Jacob, you set?
Yeah, I'm set. Do you guys have a question on?
Yeah. So let's look at Jacob's. Let's see.
You explained peace. That makes sense now.
Yep.
Why is long suffering higher, and why would you argue that it's higher than where Josh put it?
Than where Josh put it?
Using his reasoning, I think all of us should put it at the end, but I think I already explained why it's not at the end for me. What would your reasoning be?
Mm-hmm. So your reasoning was because you admired it. Josh's reasoning is because if a friend has it, then he's like, that's too bad, but it's not
a deal breaker. Yeah.
I haven't thought too much about this one. I think I thought even more about some of the bottom ones because I was trying to think why I would have them lower, so I had to think a little bit harder. Whereas long suffering, I think it's just a testament. It just speaks so much to the character of that person, and it reveals them as not being fake. So I think that was, to me, why I have it there in that area, is just because it's so helpful in ascertaining who the person is. It shows their character. And so it's like, no longer am I guessing, who is this person? What is, important to them? And are they putting on an act, or
are they really
real?
Are they really saying who they are?
Mm-hmm.
Or acting who they are? Is that real? I like that.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. But then again, if I had a friend who wasn't long suffering and who wasn't able to handle that, it wouldn't be like, all right, well, see you later.
Well, that's good. That's good. I might go in that category.
So it's.
I guess I'm really glad it is low on Josh's list. Because if you valued it, man, we would be done. We would be done.
Okay. So last one for me. We have, I think, the three that are most confusing in general are kindness, goodness, and gentleness. And you put kindness and goodness above gentleness because you said you don't really take things personally. But like, kindness is an action that you might personally take, and goodness is like an aspect of a friend. So I'm curious why you wouldn't put goodness above kindness, because you're not really basing it on actions.
I think I might have said it. I think if you take it to their like farthest conclusions, or like the highest form of that attribute, I would put goodness higher than kindness.
Okay.
But I think it might have been more of just, goodness. Yeah, I think I said because goodness could potentially be somebody more focused on myself, am I doing the right thing, versus kindness being inherently more focused on what can I do for that person. So it's more inherent in kindness, in any aspect of kindness, to be looking towards others. Now, obviously, there are people who are kind because they want people to see them as a kind person. And so there is a very selfish manifestation of kindness. Now, I would still say, still be kind. Like, don't not be kind because you realize it's a selfish manifestation. Doing kind and good things is kind and good, but try to be kind for them, not for your own reputation. So anyways, So that was the reasoning. These could be flipped around. I'm not super hard on their spots, but
okay,
good. You're set, Paxton? I think that's all for me.
I think we're set.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, that was an enjoyable podcast, folks.
It was really enjoyable.
Yeah, and I think we might continue this along a similar vein next time. A little.
No teaser. No teaser. Oh, no, you are teasing.
That's it. That's it. Okay. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. A similar vein. Yeah.
Okay.
So for the next podcast.
For everyone listening, if you've made it this far, thank you so much. We really appreciate that. If you want, go ahead and comment down below your list, because we'd all love to take a look at that. And
yeah, that'd be super interesting.
Yep.
What your thoughts are on how we placed it, and if you had any ideas for future episodes, that's also really cool to see. So any of that would be much appreciated.
Thanks for joining us. That was a thought-provoking discussion, and we'll see you next time.
Love you guys. Peace out.
See ya.